Hello, Dutch Mama here. One of those layers of the government onion I was talking about is the purpose of government. So we're going to talk about that. Okay, there's this one guy that I was reading that the Founding Fathers really liked. I'll look his name up and put it in the description. He said that the purpose of government was to protect people's property. And that was all. Now, property he also defined as being the people themselves. So it was not the government's job to tell people what to do with their property, just to protect their property. Now, what you think about that determines where you are on this spectrum. You got what that guy thought, people who are purists about that here, and that's where you tend to find the libertarians. So they've got viewpoints like the government shouldn't be making rules about drugs because that's telling people what to do with their property, their bodies. On another end of the spectrum over here, you've got people who think the government should totally tell people what to do with their property. Over here is where you find the people who are masking up and canceling funerals. So there's your spectrum, right? Libertarians, maskers, commies. Now, this is not a two kinds of people kind of thing, because we all end up somewhere on this spectrum. And there are a lot of issues that have to do with where you are on this spectrum. You got your HOA dwellers over here, and you got your homesteaders over here, and all sorts of people in between. For example, you might think it's okay that the government shouldn't stop people from coating their lungs with tar. But you're okay with, you want to stop people from selling drugs to kids. Okay, you're over here. I don't know, just all along this spectrum. That's somewhere where you tend to be. And there's all sorts of issues that deal with that. Okay, examples of issues. Eminent domain. Does the government have a right to force you to sell your property? Under what circumstances? Drugs. Things like environmental protection laws, which actually can fall under protecting your property from other people harming it. But how? We argue over where these things fall on the line, and we also argue over how. What constitutes personal property? Abortion is actually part of this spectrum issue. My body, my choice. They're saying the government doesn't have a right to tell them what to do with their property. It's not actually your body. They're saying the government has a right to tell you to not harm someone else's property. Do you see? This is a big deal. This is something you have to figure out and iron out for yourself. And discussion is a part of that, and we shouldn't stop that discussion. Interestingly, nowadays, it's not just this spectrum. You've got people kind of over here, too, who want to say that the government shouldn't tell them what to do with other people's property either. Perhaps the pro-abortionists are over here. You got your Antifa people over here. You got your California hellscape people over here. And I think it's interesting that the people over here tend to act an awful lot like the people in power over here. And the people in power over here oftentimes don't mind the actions of the people in power over here. So, something to think about, and it's a big deal. And I hope it helps you. And have a good and thoughtful day.